Watch this video before starting your first dropshipping store. I promise you one thing, this is not going to be like any other video that you used to watch. This is going to be a long, uncut, no dopamine video. And so I'm not here to waste my time, not here to waste your time. Let's get right into it. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is you right now. You want to make more money than you make right now. You're unsatisfied with your current situation. There are millions of gurus out there all saying different things. Your friends are telling you not to start, and you're extremely unsure about if you have enough time, if you can make it work, if you need a lot of money to start, and so on. So you're unsure about all these different things, and if one of these applies to you, one of these things, then this video is exactly made for you. So if your attention span is good enough so that I can watch it all the way through the end, I promise you will learn a lot. So take out a pen, take out a piece of paper. This is going to be a banger, okay? Who am I? Why should you listen to me? I made over 300K at 17. Doesn't matter, okay? What's most important about this is that I was at the exact place I described before, and that's why I'm able to make this video. And I've coached over 50 people at this point, but that doesn't matter, all right? First objection is, I need money to start. Now, Ecom is a business model to make 7 to 9 figures. That's what most people don't understand, right? If your long-term goal is to make like 3 to 5K a month, then it's overkill. And Ecom is really like, just to understand, Ecom is a business model to then either, optimize for cash flow, which is the good old pump and dump dropshipping, right? So you optimize for profits basically, or you optimize for enterprise value. You're basically running a real brand and then exit that, right? Both of these approaches work super well. They're well alive. If you only want to make a couple thousand more than what you're making right now, do not get into Ecom. And this is very controversial. However, hear me out, okay? It's like flying to school that you live 5 minutes away from. Imagine this. Your school is 5 minutes away from you when you're walking, and you buy a plane, right? You get a pilot. Headaches, so much harder to do, so much more expensive. It's overkill. It's simply overkill. It's like, it's doing the exact same thing. You could just walk to school that's 5 minutes away. Why would you fly there if you could walk 5 minutes and you're there, right? Like, it's completely overkill. If you want to make 2 to 3K, do not get into Ecom, because it's not what it's meant for. Ecom is meant for 7 to 9 figures, but it's also that hard, okay? So don't get mistaken for that, right? And so now if you want to make over 10 to 20K in profit per month, then Ecom is perfect. And then obviously 7 to 9 figures long term. Now, if you have no money right now, then I suggest you get a sales job, because a sales job will teach you the skill and actually make you a lot of money so that you can actually then put into Ecom and build an asset. That's what you can do. That's what I would do. That's what I've done. So how do you go about this? Now, first of all, obviously, if you want to make 3 to 5K a month, then Ecom probably isn't the best way for you to start. Like I said before, it's sales, right? I promise you, if you get into sales and if you make your first like couple thousand a month, you're going to realize, okay, is this enough for me or is this not? But one thing which is crucial is you'll learn the skill of selling. And I've seen it a million times before, people who had sales experience before they got into Ecom, myself, my mentor, everyone had a significantly higher chance of making it work, and also much more quickly. Not because of the business experience, because actually the sales skill itself is so important in every single business model. And if you know how to sell, there is no business on earth that you will make no money in. So it's the most important, crucial skill. And like, for example, my mentor always tells the story. He had a door-to-door sales job before getting into Ecom at a very young age. For me and my brother, the same thing, right? We got into Ecom a couple 2 years ago, but before that we had sales jobs. We both were, I was a setter, he was a closer. We both used to role play, connect with other salespeople. Like, we did sales before getting into Ecom. Also a very good friend of mine who I helped out. Same thing for him, right? Some of my students actually also, sold before, not even necessarily were in the business model of sales, but they had to sell stuff before, and they've made it, and they have had significantly higher hit rates when it comes to the ads they're made, and also they learn much more quickly. So learn the skill of sales. And the difficulty in sales, though, is to get from like 2K to 5K a month, right? However, the difficulty in Ecom is to get from 0 to 2K. That's the first step, right? That's why so many beginners quit, is because they actually don't understand that, it's from 0 to 1 is the hard part, right? In sales, it's very easy to just get a couple commissions, couple sales, and just make a little bit of money, right? That's the thing. In sales, it's super easy, but once you want to scale that, you actually need to get significantly better, right? But in ecom, the hard part is from getting from 0 to 1, and that's why so many beginners quit, because they don't make anything. They don't get any reward for it. However, going from 2 to 20K, super easy, right? Once you have something that works, you just need to scale. But it's from 0 to 1, that's really, really the hard part, trust me. And that is why beginners seem to not being able to stick to it. Now, how to stay consistent, because I've seen consistency being the most important issue that people have. That's what people struggle with the most. That's what I used to struggle with the most. That's why I think I can talk about it. Okay, so what's first and foremost, what helped me was a habit tracker. And I have sheets that I just, every single week, I plug in how many ads have I tested, how many products have I tested, if you want to. Whatever helps you track your stuff, track your inputs, right? Track your habits is gonna make you so much, like it's gonna motivate you to keep going, because you see, okay, last week I did this, the week before I did this, now I do this, and I'm gonna do this. And if you keep doing it, if you actually track what you're putting in, then you can't really fall off. You can't really fail, because at the end of the day, you will just keep going for so long until you actually make it work, right? Whereas if you don't have a habit tracker and money is the only thing that you track, then obviously it's going to be difficult. And in the beginning, you're not going to make any money. In ecom, like I said, in sales, it's different. In ecom, in the beginning, you're not going to make any money. And that's why it's super hard. And that's why you ask yourself constantly, is it for you? Why is it so hard? Why don't I make any money? But trust me, once you do find something that works, it's easy to replicate the success, and it's easy to actually scale it up then. It's just the hard part is just from getting to 0 to 1 in ecom. And so you need an accountability partner, some network, start to network with people. And actually start speaking to people how much you do for this and that. And then once you have that, once you have someone that kicks you in the ass if you are weak, and you kick them in the ass if they're weak, and then you just keep pushing each other until your limits. And that is so, so powerful. People underestimate the power of accountability partner. Now, like I said before, don't just track your revenue. Don't let revenue or your money that you make be the only thing that you track, because then it's very easy, like I said, to get demotivated and to just quit, okay? Now also, compare your 10th website to your first one, right? This is the thing, if you track only your revenue, you will get demotivated. It seems like you don't make any progress. But if you look at your first ad versus your 10th ad, if you look at your first website and compare that to your 10th website with all the components, your offers, your media, your copy, right? All these things, if you track those and compare those, how much they've changed, you would cringe yourself if you saw your first website, if you stick to this for a couple of months. And so you do make progress. It's just not visible on your story yet, because your skills are not at a point yet where you can turn profitable. But it's close. It's soon. It's going to happen soon. I can tell you exactly when, but I can tell you that if you stick to it, it's going to happen. And so don't join toxic discords and networks. I made the mistake that, people invited me, and then it was kind of like a self-help therapy session group where people just were ripping each other's products and complaining about how unsuccessful we were. It kind of just felt like a group of, being happy that others are as unsuccessful as I am. And it's kind of that's not the point, right? You zoom out. This is only Discord, okay? So track every metric you find. And that is the most powerful thing you can do, because the person who's making the quickest progress is always the one who tracks the most amount of metrics, right? And so when it comes to which metrics to track, for example, on your ads, there's so much you can look at, right? There's the hook rates, there's the hold rates, 25% video views, 50% video views, 75% video views. There's your CPMs, there's your cost per click, there's your click-through rates. There's all these little things that you can track, but people only look at their cost per acquisition or their ROAS, right? Obviously, you're gonna get demotivated. Same thing on your website. It's not only your conversion rate and your average order value. You have your open rate for your emails, right? You have the average time that a person spends on your website. You have your add to cart rate, you have your checkout rate, you have all these different metrics. Compare them to each other and start tracking them, start improving every single variable, and then start looking at the revenue per visitor ultimately, because that's the metric that you're going to need in the future, okay? And then journaling is obviously the easiest way to just, basically not quit, because if you have a journal, then it's literally written down in paper, and you can just open it up every once in a while that you learn something big, you write it in there, and it's also very valuable for you to then go back once you do make it, or once you haven't made it yet, just to go back and remind yourself, because at the end of the day, we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. You need to actually start journaling and writing down the right stuff that you learn, and then remind yourself constantly about those things from your journal. So go through it, and then it actually is super powerful. Okay, so self-improvement is BS. Okay, so you don't attract money. You don't need to take cold showers. You don't even need to go to the gym. You don't need to meditate. The only thing that you need to do to make money, very important, is to work. And this works even if you don't believe in it. You don't have to believe in it. You don't have to do shit. If your habits are in place, then it's going to work. You don't attract shit. That's not how it works. I don't believe that spiritual stuff. The only thing that you need to do is the work. And this is like, every time you blame something else, that's also where the power goes. So if you say, oh yeah, so I got bad karma today, so I didn't make money. No, like you just didn't do the work 2 weeks ago. You didn't work on your creatives, right? You didn't test enough products. That's how it is. And so at the end of the day, the only thing, like I said, is obviously to make money is to put in the actual productive work, right? Obviously, then if you only do this, you'll only have money. Money isn't everything, but you're here to make money. Okay, so that's why I'm saying this. Obviously, these things do help you. Besides, obviously, attracting money, you don't attract money. It's not how it works. But if you take cold showers, if you go to the gym, if you meditate, yes, your overall life will improve. But to make money, like in order to only solely make money, and that's all you want watching this video, I'm assuming, you only need to do the work, right? Don't do your best, just do what it takes. Do what it requires. At the end of the day, like oftentimes it's a big difference between doing your absolute best and actually just doing what's required, right? And it might be that you haven't figured out your best is not enough to reach the point where to actually say what it requires. And then you have to figure shit out. You're oftentimes going to sit in front of a computer and ask yourself, how the fuck do I do this? You're going to ask yourself, how do I figure this out? And you're not going to find a solution. And there are going to be days where where you're not going to complete your to-do list. You're going to struggle with 100 million different things. It's how the business works. It's the beginning, like a starting of a business. You're starting a business. You're not starting a side hustle. Businesses are hard. It's difficult. There's always shit in every business. And so you have to keep pushing. Doesn't matter how hard it gets. Doesn't matter what people say to you. Okay? So forget mental health. No one cares. At the end of the day, like this is also a very controversial thing to say, but at the end of the day, no one gives a shit. Like I've seen no one really, truly cares about you. So might as well just do it with work. Like that's the crazy part. Like people don't give a shit about you, right? And so at the end of the day, if you do it, like if you blame others, if you blame others, then you give them the power. If you blame others, you give them power, which means, oh yeah, so I'm not successful because of XYZ. Cool. Maybe even if it's like true, maybe even that's the reason why you haven't started yet. But at the end of the day, you're still broke. Like that's the problem. No one really cares. So might as well just do it for yourself. Fuck your mental health. It's not gonna do anything for you if you meditate. Okay, you're not gonna make more money from that. I promise you. Or screaming affirmations against the wall. Like it doesn't matter. It won't make any difference. Like trust me. And if you choose to be sad for no reason, might as well choose to be happy. Okay, but chasing happiness is not really the way to go anyways, because emotions come and go. But let's not get too deep into that. Now, sometimes it just helps to zoom out, right? Whenever you're in a Discord argument or whatever, you're just like figuring out, oh my God, this is how am I going to do this? How am I going to fix this? Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like we're all going to die at some point. It's just like when you're in an argument, it's like online or like Discord, hey, this is just the internet. Like I'm only here to make money. Why am I even arguing for? You know? So just zoom out sometimes. Don't overstress anything. Just stop caring. And that's even like the best thing you can do for your mental health. If you just let go, if you just stop giving a fuck about others, about like anything. Okay. So don't share your plans with others because they literally do not understand the life that you're living, right? If you tell them you do ecom, they will not understand it. Of course they will tell you not to do it. Of course they will talk you out of it. That's like imagine you would talk someone else out of something which you would understand too, right? So of course they don't understand it. They're not at the level yet that they can understand what you even do. So might as well just keep it to yourself. Okay, people want you to do well but not better than them. That's a very interesting thing, and I've had that happen to me, where people, when I started out, unfortunately I made the mistake of sharing my shit with others. I showed everything before I even made money, and then yeah, so they, oh yeah, keep pushing, keep. Some of them obviously tried to talk me out of it, but then also there were some people who motivated me and like said, oh, keep going, and then when it started working and started printing, then I started making money, then obviously they came back and like, yeah, basically, tried to yeah, basically talk down my success. And so it's going to happen to you too, but I just wouldn't share anything with others in the first place. And if you do, then just stop giving a fuck. Just deal with it. Okay. Again, it doesn't matter at all. Okay. So you're here to make money. You're not here to argue with people. You're not here to do any of that shit. You're not here to impress anyone. You're just here to get money into your bank account, right? Just stop caring about all these bullshit things. Okay. Humble yourself, because your ego is your biggest enemy, and you can either be right or be rich. It's as simple as that, right? Every time that I speak to someone and tell them, hey, do this, do that, do this, and then they say, oh, but no, I'm not, I'm going to do it this way. All right, bro, that you can either be right or be rich. Like it's as simple as that. And then also it's the same thing when I, hear someone, when someone makes more money than me, I sit down, take out a pen, take out a piece of paper, and I write things down. It's as simple as that. Like that's how I look at things money wise, obviously. For money advice, obviously, just like every single life area, if you have money, it doesn't mean at all that you're a good person. But if I want money advice from someone and that person makes more money than me, then I'm just listening, because that person clearly knows more than I am. Okay, so your ego is your biggest enemy. That's like probably the most important part of the self-improvement section. Now, how to start now? Because now you've heard all this, you watched this video so far. First of all, appreciate you for still being on here. How can you start? Now, what's super important about these, I have videos about every single section on my channel, but what's the most important thing about this is that you have to go ahead and start executing, right? Every time you get a little bit of information, you execute. For example, product research. I've made a video recently. It's called The Only Product Research Guide That You Need, okay? And click on, watch it. Marketing, how I turn every product into a winner. Videos from other people, and websites, why your store isn't making $1,000 a day, right? Full breakdown. I made a video about that, everything. I made a video covering media buying, how I test stuff and how I scale after stuff, spending close. There are hundreds of videos on my channel that are all going to help you. But what's most important about these is that you watch all these videos quickly, you get a little bit of information, and then you start executing, because people don't lack strategy. If you really lack strategy, then watch these videos and then immediately start executing upon them. So you watch product research, only one product research video on my channel, and then immediately start looking for products, right? Same thing for marketing and ads, same thing for websites, same thing for media buying. And that's the most important quality that successful people have, is the speed of implementation of them is actually insane, right? And so how long will it take? Well, this depends on a list of things. First of all, how much you work per day, how quickly you learn, which is basically same situation. How quickly do you change your behavior? How much money are you ready to invest? How much you optimize? How much you focus on the skills? How distracted you are? How much you learn from your own mistakes? And how much you learn from other people's mistakes? Now, the higher up you improve all of these variables, the more quickly you will make it. It's as simple as that. But I'm going to say one thing though. It's an Alex Hormozi quote, which I love. It will always take longer and cost more than expected. Okay? Realistically, you're not going to get away with just, I have seen it in the past, people that got into Ecom very quickly, make money very quickly, but usually it takes a couple months or at least a year or two until you really consistently make money again and again, and you have the skills down, not only luck, okay? It takes years. It really takes years, so that's what I want you to take from this video so far. All right, so now I thought at the end of the video, I kind of want to give you some general advice that can help you make everything work faster, right? Because obviously we not just want to make it work but actually you want to achieve the things that you want to achieve in a fairly reasonable time. And before I actually get into that, it's super important to understand that, obviously learning a skill takes time and it's a process. It's not going to happen within a day, within a couple of days, within a couple of weeks, within a couple of months. But yeah, like I said before, probably years. And so I just thought, why not give you some things that you should avoid doing or what exactly to focus on so that you don't waste time in the process. I think that's like the most important or the best thing that you can do, right? So the very first thing that you stop wasting your time about is how your website looks, right? Obviously, I know that, a lot of people overstress it, basically making beautiful websites and everything like that. But at the end of the day, that won't really make a big difference, right? The only thing that matters on your website is going to be your offer. Okay, so all the time and effort into your website should go to actually crafting and then split testing, right? That's the technical execution of it. Offers, 2 different offer structures, right? So that I recommend reading the book $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. Really helpful book when it comes to that. Basically always have the value equation in mind, right? Which is basically the dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement divided by time delay times effort and sacrifice. It's very important to have all these in mind, and generally the value of your offer, so what you get should be more than what they pay for, right? And that's when you get a conversion. You get a conversion when they think they get more than what they pay for. So value is what you get, price is what you pay. It means the value you provide with your offer, not only your product, can be multiple, has to be higher than the price of the product, and then you get a sale, right? And then once you actually start getting sales, then it's just about which offer, which structure, which enhancements, whatever, actually make you more money per visitor, right? So you should never only focus on your conversion rate or only focus on your AOV, but actually the both combined, which is your revenue per visitor, and that's the most important metric that you have. So let's say one offer makes you like $2 a visitor, one offer makes you $1.50. Then both of them convert, both of them make people feel like they're getting more what they pay for. However, the one that on the offer one, which makes $2 a visitor, is clearly better, right? Converting better or has a higher average or value, or both, right? Both can be the case, really. And so once you identify something that is winning, you can basically go ahead and keep split testing within that. So you go a layer deeper, basically take the same structure, but then kind of start a little price split test, right? So let's say you test the buy one get one free against a low upfront high shipping, and the buy one get one free wins. Now what you can do is test a buy one get one free. Both offers and the second test are buy one get one free, but one of them has a free gift, one of them has a guarantee, whatever, right? So you can test a bunch of things until you're at the deepest layer, until you have the perfect offer. And when I'm testing my offers, I'm looking for at least like $3, $4, $5 revenue per visitor, because I know that it's always going to get more expensive to advertise. And so if I'm paying more for each click constantly, every single month, every single year, then I know my offers have to make more money on my website. I have to convert better, or I have to make more for each order, right? And then obviously make more per each customer, which is a lifetime value. But there's a million things about that as well, which is basically selling consumable products or launching other products to basically convert your audiences. Again, launching bottom of funnel ads on Facebook, TikTok specifically, Google ads and email marketing, all these things to retarget people that already bought from you. So retargeting is not only for people that engage with you, but also that people that actually bought from you once, right? So you can make them buy again. Obviously, then things start to get important, like product quality and actually having a good customer journey, so that you basically really provide, to over deliver kind of, because that's actually going to make you make people buy again, right? So if the custom packaging is good, if everything feels good, if it arrives quickly, if you actually put maybe a little gift card in it, if it looks like you actually made it with your heart, if it actually looks like you put work into sending out an order, and don't just say fuck you to the customers once they already bought, then it's going to happen that your brand will keep growing. Because the most important traffic source of every brand over time is word of mouth. And trust me on that. It's word of mouth. It's nothing but really having an extremely good customer journey and your customers referring you to their friends. And that is the most powerful thing you can do. Because if you have one customer, and think about, how can I make my product so good that if I only have one customer, I make 10 new customers out of that only one customer, right? And if your customer journey is actually that good that you can pull that off, because let's say that one customer refers you to like 100 friends of them, and then 10 of them buy, right? Because your offer is still good, your front end is still looking good. However, then from each of those 10 customers, you get 10 again. And that is the most powerful exponential compounding effect that you can have as a business owner. Word of mouth is the most powerful traffic source that you can have, and you have to focus on it. If you plan on running your store for more than basically three months or so, then you have to actually start putting time into your customer experience and your customer success, right? So you might even do it yourself, or you might hire someone for customer success, right? So you might hire someone that actually does email flows, customer support, and like surveys, calling customers, asking them to extend your avatar, right? It's the biggest life hack for every ecom brand, by the way. Calling up your customers, call them, ask them, hey, ask them all the questions that you need to extend your customer avatar, because your avatar, or like your demographic, is not really, you not only just make that list once and then you're done. No, it's like more of a process. You start with a basic that you guess or that you do research on, and then you start actually calling up your customers and asking them, okay, so what made you buy? What problem did you try to solve, right? How long did it take until you, like, how much time was there between the product arriving and you started to use it? Have you achieved that dream outcome? How long did it take? Are you still using the product, right? Is it actually helpful? Would you refer it to other friends? And how likely is it? Not only yes or no, but look at everything as a spectrum of how much they would refer you, or how many friends, or how much do they like it, or like all these things. Call them up and ask these questions so that you know exactly what to improve on, because product development is always based off of research, right? After a specific point, you can't just go ahead and guess anymore. Like after a point of doing product, like actually selling a product, if you want to do product development, if you want to make the experiences better, then you have to ask your customers personally. And the only single best way to do that is to call them up. And I used to do that in the beginning. I didn't really used to do that because of because I wanted to develop my product, but I actually did it because like in the beginning, I had a lot of abandoned checkouts on my very first product that I tested, but I had no sales. And so I thought there was something wrong with the website, some technical stuff. So I called all my abandoned checkouts and asked them, hey, why didn't you buy? So like, it was super weird. But anyways, you have to think differently. That's what I want to, like, that's the most important thing probably that you're going to hear in this video. You have to be different. If you go on your ecom journey, if you start actually doing ecom, you're going to realize the game is completely highly competitive. Okay, there's millions of dropshippers, right? Millions of brands, millions of stores. So you have to be different in some way. And for example, for me personally, everything started working when I was completely different from what the gurus were telling me, right? When I did the complete opposite of what the gurus told me, then everything started to work super well, right? I don't think that's a coincidence, okay? So start thinking about how can you be completely different, massively different from your competition, and that's when you're going to realize actually, start making money. Now, when it comes to product research, and I know I linked all those videos before, so you can watch them on my channel, but one thing about product research is that you should start in a hardcore niche. You should start niching down very much. You should never sell a completely broad product, right? You should sell a very niche down product, solving a very niche down insecurity or problem, and then use your profits to go awareness stages down and down until your brand is able to speak to unaware people and convert unaware people with direct response, or obviously having multiple touch points with their customers until they buy, right? And this is also the reason why you should always be on the lookout to have like multiple traffic sources all sending traffic to one single store, instead of just going ahead and having only one traffic source. If you're only on Facebook, even though I love Facebook, you depend on your ROAS, and a 30% fluctuation in conversion rates on Facebook can be super normal. However, a 30% ad fluctuation can be the difference in a lot of brands between being extremely profitable and extremely unprofitable. It can be, right? So you should always be very, very careful with that, and you should try to generally avoid doing these things, okay? So avoid only depending on one single traffic source, obviously later on, and then have an ecosystem of traffic sources all sending traffic to your store. What else? Well, we have we've covered the product research part. We've covered the ads more or less. One thing about media buying, which I wanted to mention, is that it doesn't really matter. That's kind of controversial again, or it sounds funny, but it doesn't make a big difference in the beginning for you, right? So a good creative, and all the magic nowadays happens on the creative level. A good creative works in a CBO, it works in an ABO, it works in every single campaign type that you can imagine, right? Because a good creative is just you can't do anything wrong with that, right? So it doesn't matter what campaign type you use, how much budget you have, it will be profitable. So you should put all of your time, money, and efforts into actually creating and learning how to make really, really good creatives. Media buying only gets really important later on. Once you are scaling at a very high level and you're intraday scaling on Facebook, for example, you're surfing, or like something like that, right? If you're doing something like this and you're scaling at a very high level, then media buying gets very important, right? Making fast decisions and all these things. But uploading some ads to an ads manager and just increasing budgets by 20% if it's profitable, decreasing by 20% if it's unprofitable, that's not hard to do, right? And so you forget that CBO and Advantage Plus and these things even exist if you are below like a certain ad spend a day, okay? So until you like don't spend $1,000 a day, forget that CBO even exists. You need multiple winning ads that you can then group up in a CBO for that CBO to perform long, like in the long run, and actually keep scaling it up. And so basically you need only one campaign type in the beginning, which is your creative testing campaign. And you should work on having a lot of ad sets in there, okay? Which means you have a lot of creative tests. You should have creative tests every other day if you really want to be serious about this, right? But there's brands that test 100 creatives a day. Like this is the thing why most beginners fail, is that people test like products with 5 creatives or 3 creatives. That's nothing. There are brands that sell the same product as you in the same market probably that test 100 creatives a day, and you expect to get better quality traffic that from an ad platform from people that spend 1,000 times more than you do. It's not going to happen. You're going to get the shittest traffic ever. And you're going to wonder why our conversion rates suck. Well, it's because you're just probably, and the 5 creatives that you use are probably even ripped, right? And then people wonder why it doesn't work. Like, stop doing that. Okay, actually you start taking it seriously, start taking it like, looking at it like a business. And sometimes in life or in business, you need to step back, you need to humble yourself, you need to like really stop looking at others, actually start looking at yourself and start improving your skills, stop ripping ads, all these things. And then what's going to happen is your CPMs are going to go down, for example, because you didn't rip your ads, and then everything's going to start working. Of course, in the beginning, it's going to perform worse because you actually don't have the skill of, for example, making creatives. But then later on, if you keep doing it, you will learn the skill. And once you have the skill, you can do it again 1,000,000 times. The problem with ripping ads is that you will never, ever be able to do it again on your own. That's the biggest problem I see. People don't even realize that. So definitely keep that in mind. So we've covered media buying, we've covered ads, we've covered product research, we've covered offers. Now, anything basically beyond that is really just consistency, networking, and all these things. And so one thing which I'm going to also say about the technical part is to always look for ways to be different. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a different offer, better ads, different country. It can also be different funnel, and you can have a different access channel that you market to, right? So a funnel is basically that you, instead of sending people directly from your ad to your product page, you can have, for example, when it comes to your funnel, you can have a pre-sale page, like let's say an advertorial, okay? So you warm up your traffic with an advertorial page and then send that traffic to the offer, obviously still split tested. And that's going to have the advantage that you can actually scale on much colder audiences and warm up unaware audiences, make them problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and then most aware, and then actually convert them, right? And you can also charge much higher prices, usually conversion rates, because the conversion rates are so much higher when you actually warm up your unaware traffic, right? That's a very good possibility to do that. When it comes to the access channel that you can be different on, I suggest just looking at the access channels that are out there and just looking at which one isn't too tapped yet for this specific price. So there's brands that I'm like, this is, I don't know where it is, no one talking about this, but there's brands that only exist on Google Ads. All they do is Google. So let's say your product works super well in Germany in like Facebook, but doesn't work well in Germany on Google. Well, why don't you just run some Google ads or some basic like a competitor search campaign? You start running a brand search, but I mean, if you don't have any, meta traffic, then you don't need a brand search campaign. So you have a competitor search campaign, you have a solution aware campaign, problem aware keywords, and then like unaware, and then you have like something for Google Shopping, you have Performance Max, and then you have all these things. And there are brands that, I'm going to say this again, that only exist on Google. There are brands that only exist on Facebook, only exist on TikTok Shop. How can you be different, right? All of these things work, they're well alive. Also native ads, right? When you go to weather.com and you look at the ads that are look like blogs, basically these very scammy old people ads, right? They work super well. For example, for problem solving products, like, I don't know, barefoot shoes. Like, you're going to see so many barefoot shoes or weight loss products there, because people that have like identified a Facebook product that works super well and hasn't been run yet on like native ads, so Taboola for example, they've just put some creatives up there and actually made it look like a blog, wrote an advertorial, and then sent that traffic to a product page, and it converted like crazy. And the CPMs are always lower on like more untapped platforms. So, and always like when TikTok banned, like everyone was afraid of the TikTok ban, but you have to imagine there are always going to be platforms on a new come up. So if TikTok goes down, or would have gone down, or had gone down, then there would have been just another platform, a new one that just skyrocketed, and then it would have been new, which means the ads that you could run on there would also new, right? CPMs would have been low, traffic would have been unaware, or like a very unsophisticated market because they've never seen that before, and so you could have made a lot of money with that, right? And so all these things, I look at opportunities. Every single problem that happens to you, I look at opportunities, and never try to downplay something, never try to look at things in a bad way. Always look for solutions and opportunities. Don't look for ways that you cannot do something. Look for ways that you can still, even despite all the problems, still do something, because that's going to have the biggest advantage and lever in your entire ecom journey, and I promise you that. Okay, so yeah, these are the kind of things that I wanted to talk about. Definitely I want you to go ahead and write down your main takeaway of this video into the comments. And I want to mention one quick thing. If you actually want to cut the learning curve, right, and actually want to learn from my mistakes that I made in the past, all of them, then I have a mentorship, and the first link in the description actually takes you to a page where you can see everything. There's a video breaking down the whole process. There's all the people that were in there and actually talking about the mentorship. Just take a look, right? There's also a free Discord link in the description. Join the free Discord, talk to other people. It's not a toxic Discord that I talked about earlier, because I'm banning all the toxic people. And so if you want to check it out, if you want to check out the mentorship, check out the description of this video. And I want to say thank you for giving me your time and your attention, which are truly, and I mean this, your personal most important assets. Thank you, and I wish you a beautiful day.